Hello, and may the fourth be with you. Happy Monday. This week, I wanted to explain a little bit about what this would have looked like had we were still in school. Once we are all done with EOCs and the Constitution and the amendments, I like to kind of explore some topics that aren't necessarily in our standards, but I think are really important when it comes to American government. And one of those topics are foreign policy and international relations and how the United States deals with other countries. I've also found that students kind of struggle a little bit with recognizing where some of these countries are on a map. So there's also some geography that goes along with it. And we talk about the economy of these countries and who's in charge of these countries. And so this week we would have focused on Middle East and Asia, which could potentially take more than a week. That's a lot of area and a lot of history to cover. And so I tried to condense it into 3 short assignments. I know I mentioned to a few of you earlier this year this game called Guns or Butter, which I'm super bummed we're not able to use with distance learning. I tried to think of a way that we could have done it, but it's just not feasible. But basically, you all would have been divided into a country, one of 5 countries, and you would have had a specific economy and population. And so you would have been basically trading with each other, potentially going to war with each other. Last year, we had countries bomb other countries, we had countries form allies, and so that's what we would be doing right now in government class if we were not doing this distance learning thing. So I just wanted to let you guys know kind of where I'm coming from with some of these topics. So this week you are going to be doing, as we have been, 3 things. Today, Monday, you're watching my video and then completing the video on Edpuzzle. It's over the Cold War and kind of in the Middle East and the history there, where we are presently and how we got to that. And so you're going to look a lot at Iran and Saudi Arabia and how they got to those points. And then on Tuesday, I have a Google form on Israel and what's going on there. Kind of what is this Israel and Pakistan? What are they fighting about? What are they fighting over? Whose capital is Jerusalem? And if you follow along at all with the news, then you may remember that recently the United States moved their embassy in Israel from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem and why that was so controversial. And so I have an article and a short video and a map for you on that Google form. And then for your critical thinking question, I got a lot of good feedback last week about doing the press conference as your CTQ, and so I'm doing that again. You're going to have the option, so you can either watch one of Governor DeWine's press conferences. You don't have to watch it live. 2 p.m. might not be convenient for you, but you can just watch one archived. And so what I link to you will bring you to all of his past conferences. I do ask though for this critical thinking question that you stick with this week, right? He's meant to make a few big announcements on Monday. It was kind of interesting to watch last week. You guys wrote about what he said Monday, and by Friday some of those things had changed. So in the beginning of the week we were all meant to wear masks, mandatory if you go to a store. By the end of the week it wasn't. It was more so just suggested, and so I really enjoyed reading your responses to that. Your second option, so if you wanted to stick with the topic, I have provided a slideshow and Google document with what's going on in both Iran and North Korea, and so you're going to choose one of those countries, so maybe you are a little bit more familiar with one of those, and you are going to answer the prompt in Google Classroom. And so what it basically asks you to do is tell me, pretend I'm the president and you are my national security advisor, and you need to tell me what you think the best policy option would be for me to deal with what's going on with Iran or North Korea. Choose one of them. Make sure you defend your policy, counter one of the opposing side's arguments against your policy. Both of these are linked under one assignment, so it's not too confusing. Just choose one and turn in, and then I'll put them in progress book that way. So hopefully this all makes sense. As always, please email me if you have any questions. Whenever you write something in the Google form in terms of a question or a comment, I have been reaching back to you via student email, so make sure you're checking that. I also will often leave comments under your Google Classroom critical thinking question. I think some of you are missing them. They're not required to respond, but just in case you were wondering, is she actually reading this? If you go to your comments under the critical thinking question, I often will kind of ask you follow-up questions or give you my own opinion. And so that's there. I hope you guys are able to find a way to enjoy some of this weather. I know you're all bummed over what we're missing out not being in school, and so I really truly hope you're able to find a way to make the best of this. All right, we'll see you guys next week.